Hello and welcome. We got GK today for you folks. GK, one of the best battleships in the game and holder of my personal damage record in terms of damage. Using gun power, not secondary power. It was purely guns how I got that one. Now, right off the bat, without the military contributor flag, or military monthly contributor flag, 50% to credits, 105 to ship XP, 115 to commander XP, and then 150 with a clan. Armor-wise, this thing is armored to the teeth. 60 millimeter bow, 32 millimeter plating, 50 millimeter deck armor all along it, and then it has 120 on the bow, 380 on the belt armor, and then it has a little belt of 150 along the side. Then it goes to 120 on the stern, and then 32 millimeters on the aft plating. So she's armored really consistently. Turret armor, also very consistent, being German. And like being typical German, she does get the turtle back, kind of. She is citadelable still, because if you bring it up, that is still waterlineable, but you've got to know where to hit it. Still possible, but got to know where to hit it. It's not impossible. Now, health pool wise, 105,800. She is one of the most tankiest battleships in terms of HP in the game. She outdoes Yamato, but her torpedo protection's only 25%, which is a downside. So torpedoes do hurt in this battleship, without a doubt. Artillery-wise, she gets two choices. She gets 406s and 420s. I run the 420s personally. Now, with the setup I have, it's 29-second reload, 17-second minimum switch, 32-second 180, 250 max dispersion, 19 kilometers, HE damage 5,000, 20% of fire, 131 armor pen for the HE shells, and then 800 velocity for the AP shells, and 13,500 for max damage. Now, for the secondary, she gets two of them. She gets the 128's 3.1 second reload, 12 kilometers, 1,500 max damage, 2.5% of fire, 40 millimeter armor penetration, 900 velocity. Then her 150's 6 second, 12 kilometer, 1,700, 4% of fire, 47 millimeter armor pen, and then an 875 velocity. So it works really well against anything non-German. Anything non-German, these will pin. But if you run into ships like Preußen, Schlieffen, that's where it gets a little bit difficult. Schlieffen, it will pin a little bit easier. Preußen, not so much, since Preußen basically embodies most of what GK is. She's just more a logical development than what the FDG was to the Kurfürst, instead of FDG to Preußen. Main battery range 19 kilometers, so very decent. Airstrike, 2 flights, 30-second reload, one aircraft each flight, 2,000 HP, 11 kilometer range, so that's actually very decent. 2 bombs and 4,900 damage for max damage, so that's really good. AA wise, it looks good on paper, but it's really mediocre. She only gets 10 quad mount, 20 millimeters. Then she gets her 8 dual mount, 55 millimeters, and then the secondaries, which are 128s. Now, when we look at that continuous damage, long range AA, pitiful. AA range is 6 kilometers. Long range is 144. Continuous is 326, and then the short range is 26 at 2 kilometers. As you can look at those stats, airstrikes, yeah, you better pray the CV's dumb. Let's be honest. You're not going to fend off CVs. So CVs are your worst enemy. And torpedoes. Maneuverability-wise, 30 knots without brisk. 1,050 turning circle. That may look small compared to other battleships, but this thing is massive turning circle. I think it goes beyond 1,000 personally, because it turns ridiculous. Now the rudder shift is even worse at 19 seconds. That's pretty bad. So you gotta think where you're going ahead of time. Concealment, 16 kilometers, so not the best in terms of that either, especially with the build I have. Now, equipment, like I said, she has the ability to mount the 406s, which give a 26-second reload and a 16-second switch time, but you lose 200 in HE damage and 800 in, well, AP. So, yeah, I prefer to have the extra punching power, so that's why I run the 420s personally, because I like to have that alpha damage strike. Now, I do main auxiliary armaments 1 because, yes, you could protect your main batteries, but they're so heavily armored, the odds of those things getting knocked out or destroyed is there, but it's not impossible. So I protect my secondary batteries and my AA because you never know if you're going to have a carrier. Then I go damage control mod 1. For this build, it was secondary battery, damage control mod 2, concealment, and then I run the legendary module, improved ammunition hoists, which basically gives me a 10% to reload, a 15% to secondary reload, but it reduces my range by -8. Now, for the middle slot here, or the third slot, you could do secondaries if you want to have that extra secondary range, or you can do aiming systems. If you want to go for more of a brawling build and say ranked or clan battles or something, do secondaries. If you're in randoms, definitely go with aiming systems. It only costs you $250,000 to switch them back and forth, so you're not losing much. Now, fully built into it, she'll get 5 charges of heal, 4 charges of spotter or fighter, and then 3 charges of hydro. So, pretty decent. Now, onto the build. It's a very unusual build. So, this is my operations build, but I also have this set out for my Schlieffen. So, it's different, but it still slightly works. So, I go, gun feeder, grease the gears, inertia fuse, long range secondary batteries, manuals, adrenaline rush, and then emergency repair expert. When I get my last point, I'm more than likely going to go with brisk because I want that extra speed. If I didn't, I would go emergency repair specialist and preventative maintenance. Just because. That would help a lot. Since this is for Schlieffen, Schlieffen has a lot of modules that can be broken. So it works kind of both ways. But that's what I would do. Most other players would take this 2 skill off and put the last 4 into concealment. That's also a very valid one. It just really depends on where you want. Because do you want faster turrets or do you want that extra concealment? It just depends. In terms of camo-wise, the Germans get this is their stock one, which is really, classic German colors. And then if you get the alternative camo, that's what it gives it. Gives it kind of a more palish blue. So I like this one just because it gives it a different feel, personally. But let's get into the replay, and we'll show you how Kurfürst does it. Hello, and welcome to the GK replay, folks. Now, we're in a ranked battle. So we're divvied up with Ohio, GK, Hindenburg, Shima, Blau versus Yamato, Poison, Des Moines, Shima, Goering, and a U-2501. So, it's a pretty balanced team on paper. The bad news is, two of those players, one on my team, one on the enemy team, are on my blacklist. Because I've been playing with it, because I was playing the GK 2 matches earlier today, and both of those players were either on my team or against me. And were pretty bad. And we got them both in the same match. Now, for reasons I'm not going to say who, but you might be able to discern who it is just by the replay. Now, GK, like I said in the specs video, was originally the tier 10 for the tech line. A really, really good tech line ship. Absolutely magnificent ship. She is my record holder for damage at 268k, I believe, and that was just using main guns. What you're seeing today is more of a hybrid build, guns and secondaries. But typically, I like to run with my mainline German, full survivability and gun build. But since it's ranked, we can run a little bit different. Now, I'm detected by the Goering that's in C. So I got a Yamato and a Poison both down there. And so I'm expecting to take a lot of damage. Like I could take like between the two of those ships, probably 2 salvos from each. 2, maybe 3 if I was unlucky. But for some odd reason they shoot the Hindenburg. I guess broadside Hindenburg is more of a tempting target. But I bet in hindsight, they were probably thinking, we probably should have focused the GK. Now, the shells on the GK aren't that draggy, unlike the Americans. They're actually pretty decent. And I am running the 420s, so I get more penetration and just higher caliberness. I don't know where that word came from, but basically, they're a little bit punchier. They pack a little bit more of a punch, but they do have a tiny bit longer reload. But since I am running the legendary module, it balances it out. Because with the GK, you really don't need that extra range. 22 kilometers is actually sufficient. Now, I've already made the decision to go straight in to, C. I already know. I know the Yamato's there. I'm not really worried about him. The Yamato should be more worried about me. I have my spotter plane up by accident, but it allows me to spot. Now, we do see the DD Goering pushing the Shima. Now, this is where our Shima really screwed up. I tell him to... Well, the wrong one, but no, I tell him to get back. Because, if anything, he could just go around the island. Just do circles around the island. Now, for some odd reason, our Hindenburg... Because I wasn't worried about our Shima because, one, the Hindenburg's there. Hindenburg is there to help him. We are radared, so we already know what the Des Moines is. And it's literally clear that the Des Moines is literally right on that island. Which is textbook for him, but he really screws up. Now we pop our Hydro since we're going in. We have HE loaded for the DD. Now look at our Shima. He's actually charging the Goering for no reason. No reason at all. We do get a nice 2K, and he just goes down. First, and the Goering gets first blood and, well, devastating strike. Now keep an eye on the chat. I do pop a heal. And I do lose a significant amount of health due to that, well, Des Moines, which is unfortunate. And he says, wow, no support, thanks. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, you didn't have to push. Now, the sub literally spots, I was typing also at the moment. And there's a sub right there. I should have shot and dropped my depth charges, which is unfortunate. But we get 2 direct hits, and that goes up significant. That's an 11,000 on that sub. And he's ticking damage, so he's got permanent flood and fire, I believe. And then the Garing basically beaches himself. So our secondaries will just whittle him apart. And he's already spent his torps on the Shima, so he's well, gone. Fire picks up the sub, and we secondary the Garing. Both of them gone. Not a bad start. 2 very strong opponents gone. And then we can see that they're gonna have to push around that corner. Our other Shima is there, but I don't know what he was doing. Questionable, but okay. Now, I should have slowed down, and I screw up. I basically take half the Des Moines health off. Had I probably had the the front 2 turrets off, I probably could have dev struck that Des Moines easily. Without a doubt. I mean, he could have been dev struck. And that's unfortunate. But he's 0 health now. He's not really much of a threat. Now my secondaries go back in. I beached, but he can put AP into my side. But the Yamato hits the bow. That takes a chunk. I am losing a chunk of my health. But the Des Moines is losing a lot of health too. Again, I don't know what our Hindenburg was doing. He knew they were there. And it was confusing. And I thought, well, let's shoot the Des Moines. But then I thought, nope, we gotta kill this Yamato. This Yamato is the bigger threat. Because there is a slight pinch. He does hit our bow, or our stern, but he messes up. We aim right for the cheek armor. 4 citadels, and we detonate him. We must have got enough damage on his magazine from the cheek armor that, well, we blow him to pieces. And we were so close to our killing him there. So close. We could have probably killed him. Again, if I probably had my other 2 turrets, we probably could have, death struck. We do get a little cocky though. We pop our heal, and we're gonna cap. We have a 300-point lead on these guys. I don't know what's going on with the sub. And I'm like, enjoy being on YouTube, Yami. Cause it was I was glad to delete him off the map. Again, I don't know how our Ohio lost to a Poison, I guess. That was unfortunate. And then the sub just kind of beached. And he's just gonna die. So you're gonna see a lot of questionable stuff for my team. Now he is trying to back up, but he's going to get deleted by the sub. The sub's going to get deleted by the DD because the DD more than likely knows where he is, and he's going to go bye-bye. There's the poison. And the sub gets depth charged. And dies. And you've got this Shima that's just... I don't know what the Shima was doing. And I'm telling the Hindenburg to get back. There is no point for you to push up. No point. He's half health against a poison that overmatches most of his armor. He gets lucky on that. A good Hindenburg player can pick a fight like that. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But this one was controversial. He's detected, I'm detected, there's a Shima in the middle. And I'm telling him to get back. And I'm telling him to go capture that because you just go south and deal with the DD. There's no point for you to go after the Hindenburg. I mean, it's like he's trying to prove something. And I'm like, Hydro, man, Hydro. Don't you have Hydro? And you look at literally his this whole thing on the chat thing, and he has not even used Hydro. He takes a Torp and a Citadel. He basically loses like all of his health there, and he's basically dead for no gain at all. Now I have to pick up the slack. He's gonna die. Boom, poison kills him. I have my Hydra running because of the DD. Again, that Hindenburg should not have died. This is hard. This has gotten extremely harder. The first 3 guys were easy. Now I actually have to fight. And I wish I had an extra 20,000 health left. Because that 20,000 health I lost fighting those 2 cruise ships in sea would have been helpful. Now look at our Shimmy. I have absolutely no idea what the hell he's doing. I think he's... And I'm like, requesting support. I need you to capture that point. He's full health. And he can kill the DD. Now I got Shima Torps coming in on me. And this thing does not turn well. I honestly thought I would die. I thought this would be a loss right here. Because even though I could spot the Torps, I slow down and I hit everything and I'm trying, but you can see this thing has a massive turning circle. And the Torp literally squeezes right by the bow. Right by the bow. That saved us. Now my only goal was to defend this cap. Now it just becomes a secondary battle. And the Shima's right behind me, shooting me. If I die and I don't get that capture and I don't kill him, we've lost. They can win this, absolutely. But I've got to kill this poison, so my gut is just to run away and try and break his shells in my armor belt. But he does have 457s compared to my 420s. So, more punching power for him. Fortunately, Lucian's has gone off, and I load HE. I'm like, I gotta just kill this guy. I get 4,000 on him, and the fire kills him with my close quarters picking him up. But I'm dead. The fire's got me. And they're like, good game. I do get a spot, and my heal goes off, but it's not enough to save me. So, this is where it gets really questionable. Because we've got technically a minute to win. You can't see the timer, but we've got a minute. Now, we're going to zoom down to the Shima. Yeah. So it was scary. Now, he's in the cap. I'm watching real time when I was watching this, and I'm like, I carried this team. Thinking, okay, maybe there's someone here. I think everyone that was on my team left. But you see, we're getting there. We can still win on one cap. The only question is, I don't know how far that Shima is. My guess is he's literally right on the border, and I'm thinking, it's close. It is super close. Is it possible we could still lose? Yes. Now, I'm thinking, okay, we've still got like 40 seconds left. And I'm thinking, it is hypothetically possible for him to cross that gap. Had it been a French duty, he probably could have crossed the gap and won the match. But maybe he already used his speed boost. But as you can see, they're ticking points. And it is getting super close. Like, really close. And it's scary. And I'm just watching that timer, my timer up in the top left, and I'm thinking, oh God, please don't cross the border. Please don't cross. Please don't cross. And it's because I have absolutely no spotting. I don't know where he's at. For all I know, he could be right outside of C. But I'm thinking, okay, just a few more seconds. Just a few more seconds. And oh, it's so close, so close. And it goes to victory now. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Ooh, boy. We ended our season streak on a win and ended up with a very good game. Devastating strike. Double strike, double close quarters, and a high caliber. 4 kills, decent amount of credit, decent amount of ship XP, decent amount of free XP, 215k. Really good game. Base XP, 2,800. We solo carried that team. There is no doubt about it. Hindenburg didn't have to go for the poison. There was no reason. He could have gone to the other cap and survived, and I would have taken on the poison. Absolutely. There was no reason for him to go. He didn't have his Hydro running. That was a noob mistake. The Shima probably saved us by being AFK and being on the other side of the map. But I got to give it to their Shima and their poison. They were really good, worthy adversaries. They made me fight for that victory. Definitely. Now, 97,000 to Yamato. 36,000 the poison, 17,000 the sub, 12,000 the gearing. If we probably had our full salvo on that Des Moines, odds are we could have got a devastating strike on that Des Moines and got a Kraken. But it's a Kraken, it's only for bragging rights anymore. What matters is the win, right? We got a double strike, that's even rarer. In terms of damage received, you can look at it, it's pretty even across the board. You see that AP does chunk on the curve first, which is typical for German battleships. In terms of damage dealt, it was pretty, mostly AP, but we got lucky on some of our salvos for sure. Now, in terms of credits, over 1 million made, or over 500,000 made. I wish it was over 1 million. Over 1,300 free XP, decent amount of ship XP, a decent amount of commander XP, but a really good game to end this season's sprint session on, shall we say.